Hi, I'm going to make a video for wire wrapping again. I can't tell if this is our carnelian or a dyed agate. It really looks like some carnelian stems that I have, but with the banding it is so hard to tell, just like the last video I made, so I'm not sure. Carnelian, agate, which one? Anyways, we're gonna wrap this and enjoy. Got a thicker gauge wire, and it is 18 gauge. I like to use the thicker one as a stability, like a little cage for the stone. It's really slippery. This is a 22 gauge wire, and I like to use a little bit smaller gauge, and as the gauge goes up the wire gets thinner, so the lower the gauge number, the thicker the wire. And then this one is a really thin wire. I use this one to tie it all together because it's so easy to loop in and out. Trying to get the camera focused. 24 gauge, and that's I basically taught myself how to do wire wrapping, so I'm not a professional. I'll try to fast forward as much of it as I can so it's a lot quicker. And I have some curved pliers, some round pliers. I do not know the names for any of these. I lost the box. I got some with some rubber on there, but these tips are terrible, and so you can only really wrap up to a certain point. You can't use this tip because it won't grab it. I thought they would work really well, and they totally don't. And I have these as kind of like some wire cutters, but it works really well to cut the larger gauge if I need it. And I've got these, they're kind of rusty. I ended up having to use them for something other than jewelry. And then these are kind of like flat needle nose ends here, but let's get started. Okay, so I think I'm going to call this done. I didn't really want to cover this up because I think it's really a very beautiful stone. I didn't even really want to put a swirl up here, but wanted it to have some sort of decorations, and then I can't help it. I had to do a braided little chain thing here, so the only thing I have left to do is just to make a little, well, it's not a necklace chain, but you know, the cloth little necklace. We'll just call it a chain. Anyways, have a good night. I'm gonna go to bed. It's late. I like the way this turned out, and I'll have it for sale on eBay. Thank you for watching, and stay blessed.